Hello and welcome to Pass the Post, which after rave reviews gallops on into week number 2. This time, we look back at opening night from Meydan, which raced on the dirt for the first time, as did Al Ain. We also rubbed shoulders with a celebrity at Sharjah. Yes, you heard it right, there was a celebrity at Sharjah. And that's not all. There was a thrilling end to the UK flat season at Doncaster. Plus we head down under for all the glitz and glamour of the Melbourne Cup Carnival at Flemington. To avoid confusion, we'd better go in order. That means starting at Meydan, which opened its doors for the first of 19 meetings on Thursday night. It was the first time that the almost 5-year-old course had ever raced on dirt. So how would it play? Very well, as it happened. Here's Stephen Molyneux with a look back.
We're back at Meydan and we're back on dirt for another season of fantastic racing here at UAE's premier venue. 6 races tonight, plenty of money on offer, plenty of good horses, some of which will be trying to qualify for the carnival, which begins in January. Let's get to some action. The action got underway with a maiden over 1,400 metres, and the talking horse beforehand was undoubtedly Cross Grain, a half-brother to the unbeaten Harbour Watch, and representing a yard that had won this particular maiden in 3 of the last 4 seasons. He was certainly the pick of the paddock beforehand, looking a fine big sort, and proved to be a class apart in the race itself. We take up the action rounding the home turn.
As they travel onto the bend where Mirasil is a narrow leader, flattening for the run to the judge with 400 to go. Year of Glory has the inside and again goes after the leader. Cross Grain is wide but going after the leading pair, and they're clear of State Law. Cross Grain loomed up out wide, went to Year of Glory. Mirasil's flat and then State Law, but Cross Grain, the horse first up, but with the breeding, is beginning to draw away, and Cross Grain under Richard Mullen, too good. Cross Grain first.
In defeating the dependable Year of Glory, the form has a very solid look to it, and with the handicapper allotting Cross Grain a mark of 80, it wouldn't be at all surprising to see him in the winner's enclosure again very soon. On to the Emirates Holidays handicap that followed, and race fitness would prove key. The Street Act came with a sustained challenge to wear down Centrifugal. The winner had been in action at Jebel Ali a week earlier and continued the fine start to the season for Royston French.
He's a good old boy, obviously running a lot shorter than normal. Sort of very hard work, but obviously knew that he would stay. Stamina sort of come into play late on, pushing from a long way out, but always knew he would sort of respond.
Was that the surface or the drop-in trip, or a bit of a combination of both, you think?
I'd say, the surface played a big part, on the slower side, obviously running a lot shorter. It was just a case of if we could sort of keep on tabs with them, even though I was hard at work, knowing that he would stay at the finish.
And what is your take on the new surface after a couple of rides now? It seems as though you can come from off the pace, which is always a bit of a bonus on dirt.
Well, my horse obviously, runs obviously a lot further, so he obviously was a little bit outpaced early. But the surface, it's very consistent. Obviously, it's a new surface. There will be a bedding process, riding on the slow side, but overall, fine.
The benefit of a recent run was again highlighted in the third contest of the evening. Musaba Al-Maheri, who saddled a 4-timer on this card 12 months ago, turning out Mutaram quickly and duly obliging at the expense of Etijar.
Mutaram in front with 250 metres left to run. Not a lot of gas in the tank, but the chasers are only going up and down in the one spot. Citizens Charter and Etijar. It's Mutaram in front with short of 100 metres left to run, and Mutaram will be a maiden no longer. Mutaram is first.
This was a first win for the 4-year-old, but there is no denying this was a weak race, and he will have his work cut out to defy the £10 rise handed to him by the handicapper. On to the feature race now, the Emirates Skywards handicap over 1,200 metres, and we could just have seen a couple of very interesting carnival prospects in the form of Genius Step and the Taj. The pair had it to themselves from a long way out, and Richie Mullen clearly has high hopes for Genius Step, who eventually obliged by a length and a quarter.
He's ticked the box tonight. listen, he goes there and he kind of pricks his ears. He's one with a bit in hand, in fairness to him. Like I say, I think that's why at the carnival in better company they'll have something just to take him a little bit longer and lead him into the race a bit longer. But it was a good performance, and he's handled the surface well, which we expected. And like I say, he's ticked all the boxes and onwards and upwards.
It looks really strong form as well. You and the Taj pulling over 5 lengths clear of some pretty solid yardsticks, really.
Yeah, and the Taj was a smart horse for His Highness Sheikh Hamdan in England, and I know Doug Watson was very keen on him. Obviously coming on the dirt, he's been training well on the dirt. I knew he'd be fit, and I probably rode my lad a little bit handier than I'd like to have, but it's just very difficult on this surface. I knew, Dane was out in front, and I didn't want to give him too much lead because I knew he was on a fit horse and a good horse with it. So I kind of rode my lad a little bit too handy, but like I say, he's done the job, and and he's beat a good yardstick.
Genius Step has gone up £6 and the Taj 3. Both rises seeming on the lenient side, and the pair should be very competitive in the coming weeks. By the time we arrived at race 5, Doug Watson was wondering what he had to do to saddle a winner, hitherto having sent out 3 seconds and a third on the card. His frustrations were blown away in emphatic fashion. Stormbelt coming home one of the easiest winners of the night, his stablemate Henry Clay chasing him home for good measure.
Stormbelt has run away from Henry Clay. Well, Doug Watson's been suffering the place yips until the 5th race, and now he's about to prepare the Quadella. Stormbelt, a very easy winner. Henry Clay has run second.
Easy winners were becoming the norm now, and Shai Shi turned the last into a romp, giving Sylvester de Souza and Musaba Al-Maheri doubles in the process. This wasn't quite African story in the Dubai World Cup for de Souza, but it's good to see him back, and completed a great first night of the season at Meydan. The feedback on the new dirt surface all very positive to boot.
The day after Meydan, Alain also began its campaign, hosting the first of 10 meetings, all of which will take place on a brand new dirt track under floodlights. For good measure, they boosted the prize money and stuck in a big screen too. Let's see what happened. So here on Past the Post, we're taking our first visit to Alain, which today hosts a 6-race card. We've got 3 maidens, beginning with a thoroughbred affair for our opening contest today, and then later on 2 Arabian maidens as well. Later on the card, the feature race is a rated conditions event, and I think that Tygo Shea has got a good chance there with RB Smoking Rich for Ernst Ortel, who has 5 runners on today's card. We've also got a couple of Arabian handicaps, so something for everybody. And as you can see, there's already a big crowd that has amassed here at Alain. The deep track made things tricky throughout, but Respect Me and Wayne Smith made light of it in the opening 1800-metre thoroughbred maiden, coming well clear off the final bend and winning easily from Tadmere and Mountain Lion.
Respect Me is tearing away over the final part, and Respect Me, loving the new track at Alain, wins well.
It was the first win of the season for the jockey and his new boss Ismail Mohammed, whose horses have begun the campaign well. Of course, it's the start of a new era for you teaming up with Ismail. His horses seem to be running really well.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to Ismail to give me a chance to come back out this year. We have a small string, but we're doing our best with them. Dion's done a great job. The horses are looking great. They're working very well. So hopefully we can improve the stable a bit more and get some more winners than he has the last couple of seasons.
Next up was a 1600-metre Arabian maiden, for which 9 lined up, including Alamiya, who soon turned it into a procession under a confident Dane O'Neill. Zayed finished second and Major third.
Alamiya is striding away over the concluding stages, and Alamiya will win handsomely. Alamiya first, Zayed second.
It was the 3rd win of the season for O'Neill and a rare Arabian success for Musaba Al-Maheri. It was always going to be unlikely that power couple Ernst Ortel and Tygo Shea would leave Alain empty-handed, and they duly recorded a double. First up was RB Torch, who looked a big blinkered baby in the 1400-metre maiden. He wandered around in the closing stages, but still hosed up on debut, beating Marouge by 6 lengths.
It's all Torch, wearing blinkers for the first time tonight, and Torch an easy winner. Torch first.
The Alisail team didn't have to wait long for their next trip to the winner's enclosure, which came after the featured Al Khabazi Condition Stakes over 1400 metres, which attracted a select band of 6. Ortel ran TM Junior Johnson and the lightly raced RB Smoking Rich, and Tig was on the right one, as RB Smoking Rich came well clear in the home straight, crossing the line 4 lengths in front of Najem Sahil, with Junior Johnson back in third.
Smoking Rich much too good. Najem Sahil second, Junior Johnson third.
Second season trainer Hardy Hopker registered his first UA winner at Sharjah last week, and he wasted little time in collecting a second. Royston French booted home Majid Abu Dhabi for a 4-length win in the 1,000 metre private owners race. Alasefa finished second, ahead of Tahdid. Hardy Hopker trains a small band of horses in Sharjah, and he's keen for more, as he told us afterwards. Well, really well done. How many horses do you have?
6 horses.
6 horses, so two winners so far is pretty good.
Yes, and I'm a public trainer for تعتبر.
So you'd like a few more than 6 horses?
Okay. Yes.
There was another first in the closing 1,000 metre handicap, when apprentice George Buckle rode his first UAE winner on Hilal Alawawi's Safina Gamtoot. The finale provided the day's only close finish, Buckle and Safina Gamtoot just edging out Xavier Ziani and Girl Power in a drive to the line. We've had quite a few rides here now, so it must be nice to get the first winner out of the way.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weight off the shoulders. Musaba's treated me really well and supporting me. And even though it was an outside ride, it was just nice to get one under my belt.
That's it for this week at Al Ain, which races again on Friday the 21st of November, by which time the track should be riding a lot faster. Staying local, the third of the weekend's 4 meetings took place at Sharjah, which hosted a 6-race afternoon fixture. Off we go. Good afternoon from Sharjah, which today hosts its second meeting of the season. We've got a 6-race card, as is pretty standard here, and the most interesting race looks to be the thoroughbred event that takes place in race number 3. It's a very competitive handicap, and I quite fancy Hacienda to get off the mark for Doug Watson, whose horses are running really well at present. Before that, of course, we've got plenty of Arabian action. Jabba Bitar does well with his string, and it was his Munafisat Al Reef who took the opening 1,200 metre fillies maiden under Jesus Rosales, beating fellow first starter Hoyam, with AR Bint Al Arab third.
Munafisat Al Reef and Jesus Rosales are drawing clear in the shadows of the post. Munafisat Al Reef first.
An unrated maiden for Colts and Geldings was the second race on the card, and again it went to a debutante, when Royston French guided home Ahmadani for Hilal Alawawi, who was celebrating his second winner in as many days. That made it 7 for the season for Royston, whose mount came home comfortably ahead of Jackie Wickham's Zamil Warsan, with AL Shabab, a stablemate of the winner, taking third.
Ahmadani doing the better work in the final 100 metres. Ahmadani always on the pace. Ahmadani wins the money.
The thoroughbred handicap, over 1,200 metres, was up next, and we must have jinxed Hacienda, who could only manage 4th behind runaway winner Price's Truth. Partnered by Richie Mullen, he came home 13 lengths in front of Dar Zayed and Lord Tiger.
Price's Truth is drawing right away and will be a very, very big winner. Price's Truth first.
It was a first win at the 12th attempt for Satish Seemar's Gelding, who cost an eye-watering $1.2 million at the sales, and Mullen was pleased. Price's Truth is absolutely hosed up, about time too, I think.
Yeah, it kind of surprised me. I think probably went a bit too far, but no, listen, he's been a horse that we always kind of held in quite high regard, but I think he's just been a late mature. You know, today he was so relaxed. Normally he gets a bit buzzed up and he tends to lose his races before he even gets to the start. But I think this year he's grown up a lot. I mean, Yakko that rides him done a fantastic job. He's ridden him from day one, and you know, he's got him, you know, in as relaxed as he can get him, and you know, I think the horse has thrived on it. So you know, all credit to him. But he was nice and relaxed today, and yeah, I think he likes this dirt surface. So hopefully now, I mean, listen, he's won 13 lengths. Hopefully they don't crucify him too much. But I think now, obviously with Maidan being on the dirt surface as well, it could be onwards and upwards with him.
The 4th race was yet another maiden, this time over 1,700 metres. 8 ran, but it was quickly turned into a 1-horse race by Tygo Shea, who rather nicked it from the front on Irfan Elahi's JAP Joker. Qatar Al Reef was second, ahead of MH Samurai. been a really good day for these silks. They belong to His Excellency Sheikh Saeed bin Maktoum Al Maktoum, owner of our previous race winner JAP Joker, doing the honours for Tygo Shea and Irfan Elahi. Irfan saddles 2 in our next race. I think he's got a really good chance with JAP Dunic. Dunic finished a creditable second, but the win went to Moreb, the second winner of the afternoon for both Jabba Bittar and Richie Mullen.
And Moreb under Richard Mullen is beginning to stride away. Dunic battling on, but Moreb is too strong, and Moreb beat Dunic. Barek Warsan third.
The final race, a handicap over 1,700 metres, looked the pick of the Arabian action, and Doug Watson's Barnamage was given the curse of our close-up camera beforehand. It was Watson's other runner who obliged, however. Fantastic MFH leading pretty much all the way under Pat Dobbs, who never looked likely to be caught.
And Fantastic is going to be much too good. Fantastic striding down to the line, wins by panels of fencing.
The victory completed a fine weekend for Watson, whose string have begun the season in eye-catching form. Sharjah Racecourse isn't known for its celebrities, but there was much excitement, well, from me, when racing's best-known writer, Felix Francis, made an appearance. What are you doing here, first of all? Just explain it to us.
Well, I'm here for the Sharjah International Book Fair. I've been invited over as a guest author to come and speak to them, and, well, of course, took the opportunity to go racing. So I saw it was on, so I asked whether I'd be able to come, and here I am.
What are your first impressions of it? It's a little bit different to race courses that we have back at home.
Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, I've been to some small race courses in England as well. I mean, Cartmel, I've been racing at Cartmel, where there used to be not even a grandstand, there used to be just a tent. But it's certainly exciting. I mean, the first 2 races have been for Arab horses, purebred Arabians. And they, you know, I'm used to looking at thoroughbreds, so they look a bit different. This race coming up is thoroughbred, so it'll be back to the norm today now.
You've got a new book out. This is it. You can just show it to our camera. Tell us about it. It's one I don't have yet, but I'm sure I'll get it soon.
Well, it came out in England in September, and it was in America in October. A good Christmas present, of course. And it's the main character is an undercover investigator for the British Horse Racing Authority, and it involves murder and doping and all those other things you'd expect in a Felix Francis book. It's actually the 50th book in the franchise, so my 9th. Got quite a lot of work, long way to catch up my dad, but I'm working on it. I'm already writing the next one.
I was going to ask, you must have something else underway. What's the sort of plot for that? Can you reveal any of that yet?
Well, not really. I don't want to reveal too much, except that the main character, I'm making an exception and using the same character again. Jeff Hinckley is his name, and so it is a sequel. But of course, it doesn't matter which order you read them in. At least I hope so. But it'll be finished in March and out next September, so quite a long way to go yet.
How do you keep coming up with new ideas? It must be really quite difficult after doing it for such a long time.
Well, I wish. Someone said to me, see, it's got your father's name on the cover as well. Did he leave you the plot idea? And I said, I wish. But going to races all over the world, like coming here in Sharjah, is helps with giving it an idea. Perhaps it sparks something, or you think of something that might happen. I mean, it may be, from an English eye, this racecourse may be quite small, and racing with Arab horses may look quite basic, but only got to look at the race card to see that the purses are significant, and there are lots of veterinary officers, and there's forensic officers required, but there's a lot of effort goes into ensuring that the racing is clean, far cleaner than there would be in my books, I have pointed out, and you never know, perhaps Sharjah will appear in a book.
That's excitement over. We left Sharjah, but we'll return next Saturday. Sharjah and Australia both have desert, and both get quite hot. They also both stage racing. That's pretty much where the similarities end. But even so, it's time to bring you up to date with what happened down under this week, starting with a massive Melbourne Cup party right here in Dubai. Here in Dubai, we are several thousand miles away from Australia, but that doesn't stop the Australian expat community here in the UAE from celebrating Emirates Melbourne Cup Day. This is the annual Australian Business Council of Dubai long breakfast. They're here to bring Melbourne style to Dubai. A chance for networking while enjoying a fusion of Australian and Dubai hospitality. The long breakfast attracted 200 people this year, all keen to watch the race that stops the nation among fellow Aussies. John Butler, Commissioner for the Victorian Government, explained just why this race is so important.
I'm from Melbourne, so I guess I'm biased, but I must say that the Melbourne Cup is the race that stops Australia, it stops the nation, and increasingly it's stopping the world, because all around the world there are these sorts of breakfasts or evening events, depending on the time frames, that are going on to celebrate the Melbourne Cup. And I think one of the main reasons it's become a very international race. So many of the horses in the race this year and over the last few years have been international horses, and of course they're winning the race as well.
The Victorians are very proud of it because, you know, it started way back in 1861 and it's been going up until now. It's actually, Victoria's the only place where it's a public holiday, so they take it very seriously. But I can say as a Sydney-sider that not a lot of work gets done today because people do watch the screen and, you know, we have cakes and celebrations within the office. So it really is a big day in Australia.
The Aussies were keen to defend their crown in the face of stiff overseas competition, including from Jules' second Red Caddo and Caulfield Cup winner Admire Rakti. Sadly, Godolphin's cavalryman was a late scratching due to lameness, leaving a field of 22. As everyone gathered inside Traiteur restaurant to watch the race on the big screen, it was the locally owned mare My Ambivalent who took the field along. But, as ever, Ryan Moore was waiting to pounce.
Coming around the turn now, and Brambles is the first one to race up and challenge My Ambivalent as they swing around the bend. They're being followed by Red Caddo, poised for his run, and so is Sign Off, and Au Revoir's wider, followed by Gatewood. Admire Recti's well back, Opinion is pulled out, Mutual Regard is threading through, and so too Protectionist. Red Caddo hits the front, Sign Off coming after him with 300 metres to go. Willing Foe starting to run on down the outside, and Protectionist is bursting through. Protectionist race to Red Caddo, who shot the line and then Sign Off. Protectionist raced away at the 100-metre mark. It's Germany's Melbourne Cup. Protectionist by 3 lengths to Red Caddo, and Protectionist bolted in the cup by 3. Red Caddo second again. Who shot the line in third, and then Sign Off. Willing Foe increasing on top.
So, a first German-trained cup winner, and a first ridden by Moore, who was quick to praise the horse's trainer Andreas Voller.
Had so much horse, he found amazing.
It's a terrific move by Andreas Waller to run him in the Herbert Power and then rest him for the Melbourne Cup.
He proved what an excellent trainer he is, you know. His record's very good, and, you know, I'm very pleased with him.
Back at the Park Hyatt, the party was in full swing, and I caught up with some stylish ladies. Style, of course, is such a huge part of the Emirates Melbourne Cup, and Louise Harrison is a designer of these beautiful hats. They're amazing, and you made them all yourself.
I do, actually. I make them to order normally, so people come along, show me their dresses, and then I match the outfit.
And Melbourne Cup Day, you can sort of put it out there a bit, can't you? You can be a little bit different, a bit creative with your hat.
It's very special. It's quite different to the Dubai World Cup. I mean, it's different fashions, but it's very stylish, and I love it.
Where did you get the idea from?
It actually came out of a street style, and I figured that it was something different that any girl would want to pull it off with her outfit. So that's how the idea came from customization, carrying your statement bag just on your clutch. So that was about it.
Before we left the Aussies to their party, there was time for a unique memento of the day. This is one of my favourite things here at the Emirates Melbourne Cup Long Breakfast. It is a photo booth. What you do is you get your prop. I've got my horse. Let's call him, I don't know, Protectionist. And let's see if we can recreate the Flemington atmosphere here. What do? I just stand?
We've got your horse here. That's it. The winning horse for the Melbourne Cup. Looking to camera.
And the finished results? Perhaps not my best side. So the Melbourne Cup wraps up for another year, and the main event travels overseas yet again. In stables across Australia, the search will already be on to find next year's winner. 5 days later, the Melbourne Cup Carnival came to a close when the Group 1 Emirates Stakes took place at Flemington. Run over 1,600 metres, the race attracted a field of 15, and it was Hucklebuck who ran out the winner under Dominic Tourneur for trainer Philip Stokes. Lucky Hustler was second and the Cleaner third.
Hucklebuck in front. Lucky Hustler could be the danger late. Hucklebuck by about a neck to Lucky Hustler, who's driving at him. They hit the line. Hucklebuck has held on and won it.
Earlier on, Ed Lynham's Slade Power made a bold bid to end his illustrious career on a high when lining up in the 1,200-metre Darley Stakes. Sadly, it wasn't to be, and Wayne Lorden's mount could make no impact, which was explained when he was found to be lame afterwards. Instead, the win went to Terra Vista, who came with a late run under Hugh Bowman to deny the favourite Chattahoochee, with Australian Horse of the Year Lankan Rupee back in third.
Terra Vista's hit the lead though. Terra Vista in front, and Terra Vista won it by a head. Chautauqua, Lankan Rupee's run third.
Trained by Joe Pride, Terra Vista could do what every decent Australian sprinter seems to, and have a trip to Royal Ascot on his agenda next year. Around the other side of the globe, the UK flat season finally came to an official end at Doncaster, which staged the November handicap. The big race was won by Open Eagle for David O'Mara and Danny Tudhope, who are much the best in conditions that could politely be described as monsoon-like.
Open Eagle, he covered more ground. It might have just accentuated what would surely have been a victory anyway, and the horse that was third last year will coast home and win the Betfred November handicap.
The season finale also gave Richard Hughes a chance to celebrate his third UK Champion Jockey's title, while Richard Hannon took the trainer's gong in his first season with a licence. There was also plenty to celebrate for His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum, who was crowned UK Champion Owner after his brilliant season. His assistant racing manager Richard Hills was there to pick up the trophy. Speaking of awards, here are the Past the Post accolades. Surely the ones that everyone wants to win. Firstly, our Ride of the Week. We head to England, where the mythical award goes to Danny Tudhope, who steered a wide course on Open Eagle on atrocious ground to win the November handicap at Doncaster. We were also pretty impressed with Tygo Shea's horsemanship in getting this tricky customer to the start at Sharjah. And this week's horsey hero? He might only be rated 42, but Fantastic MFH has now won 5 races at his beloved Sharjah. Finally, who goes into the notebook as our one to watch? The Taj might have been second behind Genius Step, but our stable moles tell us he missed work in the run-up to the race, and his future looks bright indeed. That's it for Past the Post. We do hope you've enjoyed it. Join us next week when we'll be climbing the hill at Jebel Ali and taking another trip up the motorway to Sharjah. Bye for now.